It's the dictionary. 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 It's the dictionary.
Hello, word nerds. Hello, word nerds. I'm talking to you from my computer and my office and my microphone and my camera. Today is February 2nd. It's Groundhog Day as I'm recording this, 7:04 a.m. Just last year, we decided to go do a little nerdy film site viewing. I don't really know how to word that. We went to Woodstock, Illinois, which isn't too far away from where we live, and because that's where they filmed the movie Groundhog Day. Groundhog's Day? Is there an S at the end? Is it the day? Is it the day of the groundhog, or is it just Groundhog Day? Wonderful, very silly movie. There's like a mural of sort of either films that have been made there or people who have come from there. I think Orson Welles has a connection to Woodstock and, of course, Groundhog Day. Anyway, it was Dick Tracy, I think, was like invented there, made there, something. Although I think Dick Tracy has like an Aurora connection too. I don't know the details, but there's the square and there's the gazebo and yeah. If you've never seen Groundhog's Day, you got to go see Groundhog's Day. But today, this episode is airing, I believe, on March 14th. Oh, Pie Day. Let's eat some pie today. I believe it is Einstein's birthday. Happy birthday, Einstein. The first word in this episode is eruct. E-R-U-C-T. Verb from 1596. And the synonym is belch. I've never heard of this word used to describe a belch or a burp or a burp. This word is from the Latin eructare, which is from erugere, which means to belch or disgorge. Disgorge. So if you have something gorged? If you gorging yourself, but then you gotta ungorge yourself. You gotta disgorge the stuff that you have gorged. Then you are disgorging. Like maybe if you burp and a little food pops out, bloop, then that's an eruct. Was there more? It's akin to the Old English roketan, which also means to belch. And then from the Greek word erugisthai, it does not say what that means, but I have to assume. I must assume that it means to belch, to burp. Burp, all of the times here, they said belch every time. So I guess that's the more technical, scientific, medical term. But, you know, we like to also say burp. Burping and belching. Now, do I make a sound effect of a burp? Do I do that? Or do I do a different sound effect that's related to a different word today? I'll do that. The next word is eructation. Eructation. This is a noun from the 15th century, an act or instance of belching. So if I make myself burp, let's see if I can do it. It's usually not that hard for me. There's always one ready to go. That was an eructation, and I eructed from my mouth. Okay, I won't do that again because I know that sound is probably really bothersome to a lot of you people, so I won't do it. The next word, it is erudite or erudite. Either one is fine. Adjective from the 15th century. This is possessing or displaying erudition, and the synonym is either learned or learned. And I think that if you have more erudition, if you are erudite, you are more likely to say learned than learned. So of course I have to say learned because I wanna seem like an erudite. Or seem erudite because it's an adjective, because the example is an erudite scholar. That scholar always says that they are a learned scholar because they are so erudite. They possess They possess erudition. They display erudition. It's the erudition is flowing out of their pores, and maybe they eruct. No, they would never do. They would never do an eructation. These erudite people, they are too learned to do an eructation. Eruditely, that's an adverb. Lovey, we must do the rest of this podcast eruditely because we are so learned. No, we are not learned, which is why we're doing this podcast, so we can become learned. By the end of this podcast, I will be talking like this because I will know everything. This word is from the Latin verb erudire, which means to instruct. So it's not about learning things. You have learned the thing, so you are instructing the things to the rest of the people. What else? From the E prefix plus rudis, which means rude or ignorant. Okay, so the E prefix is making it the opposite. You are not rude. Well, rude and ignorant, those don't necessarily go hand in hand in Spencer's book. I definitely see the connection with ignorant. If you are the opposite of ignorant, you are learned, you know things, and then you can teach other people these things. But rude, you can be ignorant and not rude. To be honest, I think people who are more learned and erudite are more likely to be rude than people who are ignorant. Okay, so what is erudition? You were asking, I heard you say it. Erudition, or just erudition. Noun from the 15th century. This is extensive knowledge acquired chiefly from books. Chiefly from books. That's interesting. I wonder if the etymology is going to have something to say about that. Although we just talked about the etymology in erudite, so maybe not. But there's more. Profound, recondite, or bookish learning. Bookish, it's all about the books, I guess. It says to see the word knowledge as a synonym. Yeah, it's all about the knowledge. I'm getting some knowledge from this book. So what if you don't ever read a book, but you become very smart and learned from from teachers teaching you classes? You go to their classes, that's how you're going to learn stuff. You can learn tons of stuff. Why has it got to be from books? There's no etymology, because it's about instructing and being rude and ignorant, I guess. That's erudition. That's that's erupt. Erupt. That's the next word. erupt, verb from 1657, starting with intransitive. 1A1, to burst from limits or restraint. To burst from limits or restraint. So if somebody has put some limits on you, some chains, some restraints, and then you burst forth, you're like very, very strong. You're very, very strong, and you burst from your chains. You have erupted. 1A2 is talking about a tooth, and this is to emerge through the gum. So when you are a baby and you are teething, the teeth are erupting from the gums. Usually when we think of the word erupt or eruption, we think of something happening very quickly, but teeth do not come from the gums very quickly. It's a very slow process, in fact. And then you lose those little teeth, and then you get the adult teeth. You lose your baby teeth. You get your adult teeth. I don't know, anywhere between the ages of probably 5 and 10-ish. You're gonna get some new teeth erupting. 1B. To force out or release suddenly and often violently something. Something? Something that is pent up. Something that is pent up. To force out or release suddenly and often violently something that is pent up. See, we got to switch the order of this. Something that is pent up is forced or released suddenly and often violently. And an example of something would be lava or steam. Of course, we always think of a volcano. There's all this pressure that's being built up underneath the lava and the steam and the magma and the rocks and everything, all the gases. The volcano is getting ready to do an eruct, to do an eructation. I'm sure that these are related. They got to be related. The volcano burped. Was there more to that part? No. But we got 1C. To become active or violent, especially suddenly, and then also break forth. If you're just breaking down a wall, you are breaking forth. You are erupting through the wall. As in, war could erupt at any moment. Also as in, the audience erupted in applause. When that person on stage did something so great, so you can't even talk about how great it was. It was so great and wonderful. And then they were done. And then the audience went, "Yay! Oh my God, that was amazing! Woohoo!" It was an eruption. Number 2, the breakout with or as if with a skin eruption. Oh, 2, I think I said the. To break out with or as if with a skin eruption. And we're probably talking about acne here, I assume. You know, most people who have acne are probably in their teenage years, and they are very distraught about these skin eruptions. We've all been there. Some of us who are older than teenage years, in our 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, we still sometimes get these skin eruptions, and they're very irritating. Some more than others. And don't be mean about this, because you had to do it too, or you will have to deal with it, and it's just be nice about it. It's all very common and normal. Your body's going through weird stuff when you're a teenager. Okay, here we go with transitive, which is to force out or release, usually suddenly and violently, as in a volcano erupting lava and ash. That's what they do. If they're not doing that, they're not living their true sense, their true lives. Eruptible is an adjective, eruptive is also an adjective, and eruptively is an adverb. The volcano volcanoed eruptively. The etymology says this is from the Latin verb erumpere, which means to burst forth, from the e prefix plus rumpere, which means to break. And there's more at the word reave, R-E-A-V-E, and I'm not sure what that word means. Bursting forth, breaking forth. Now, we didn't see any etymology that connects to eruct, but I feel like if you go back far enough, or they branch off from each other somehow. They must. I just want to see a short little video, an animation maybe, of a volcano burping. Eruption, noun from 1555. 1A, an act, process, or instance of erupting. There was an eruption. 1B, the breaking out of a rash on the skin or mucous membrane. Yeah, that's another one of those skin eruptions. Acne, boils, rashes. Rashes can get real messed up. I guess you can have an eruption on a rash. Yeah. 2, a product of erupting, as in, the example is a skin rash. So yes, your skin, it's not like bubbly things. It's not like a pimple where you can maybe pop something out of there necessarily, but just the sense, just the idea that your skin has gotten red and maybe raised a little bit, that's an eruption. Okay. This is a suffix, E-R-Y. You'd probably pronounce it airy, I think. Let's find out. Number 1, qualities collectively. That's the first part. The next part is character. So qualities collectively or character, And the synonym suffix is ness, N-E-S-S, as in the example. This is perfect for this episode because we had erudite. The example is snobbery. When you have snobbery, you have the qualities of being a snob. Your character, one of your character traits is snobby, snobbish, snobbery. It's not one of my favorite character traits. No, don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like snobbery. Number 2, art or practice, as in, couple examples, quackery and trickery. Art or practice. So if you are doing the practice of quacking or being a quack, a crazy person, that's quackery. Oh, that's just such quackery. You've been practicing the art of quacking. Trickery, that's another one. Ooh, yes, if you've done the practice of tricking people all the time. You are so good at the art of trickery. Well, you can't use that in the thing. Tricking, yeah, you are artistic when it comes to tricking, so you have trickery. Number 3 is place of doing, keeping, producing, or selling. As in that's parentheses, the thing specified. So the place of doing, keeping, producing, or selling the thing that is specified in the word before the suffix. So we have a couple examples: fishery, bakery, and eatery. Those are places where you can sell the baked goods. You are doing the fishing, keeping the fish possibly, producing the fish or producing the baked goods. The eatery is just where you go to eat. I don't know what you're doing the eating. You're doing that action. You're not keeping the eating, you're not producing the eating. Well, kind of. You're not selling the eating, although people are selling the things to be eaten. It's an eatery. I always just want to go to eateries. Okay, yeah, it's just a place where stuff happens. You put ERY at the end. I am right now in the podcastery because this is where the podcasting happens. Number 4, collection or aggregate, as in finery and greenery. Greenery is where you store all the greens. All the green stuff has been aggregated. You've collected the greens. The finery. What is the finery? Is that where fine china is collected? I don't know what that is. Number 5, state of condition. State or condition, as in slavery. So if you are in a state of being a slave or a condition of being a slave, then you are in slavery. Something that nobody should be in, ever, ever. The etymology really isn't very helpful. It's just and y and yeah. Okay. Next is eringo, E-R-Y-N-G-O, noun from 1543. Number 1, any of various plants of the carrot family that have elongate, spinulose, margined leaves and flowers in dense bracted heads. Okay, a lot of information there. They're related to the carrots, or they are carrots. They're like carrots. They're somehow related to carrots. They have elongate, spinulose margined leaves, so long leaves. Yeah, I can think of a carrot. They got long leaves sticking up from the ground. They're spinulose margined. There are flowers in dense bracted heads. Don't know what that means. The genus name is Eryngium. So these are eringo. I'm not familiar with these. Number 2, candied root of the sea holly, formerly used as an aphrodisiac. Formerly, does that mean that people were like, nah, it's not really doing anything for me? And sorry, I'm moving a lot. If you're watching the video, I'm moving a lot because my back hurts. And we were sitting on a really uncomfortable couch last night watching a movie in the movie theater. This one theater has some couches, but most of them are really uncomfortable. Okay, so it's a candied root of the sea holly. What's a sea holly? And then they take the root of it, and then they candy it, and then they're like, here, this candy's gonna make you randy, and it's called a ringo. Let's look up, what does an eringo look like? Maybe if it looks interesting, we'll put it on the social media. Well, this is, I mean, I think I've seen these or seen something like this. It's got this really cool flowery head. It's got these spiky things that stick off to the sides, and then it's got this, how do you even describe this thing? I don't know. Looks pretty cool. Yeah, I'll post a picture of an eringo on the social media at dictionarypod. Thank you very much. This is from the Latin eryngion, which means sea holly, and then also from the Greek eryngion, don't know what that means, probably also sea holly. Next is erysips. How do you say this? Erysipelas. Yeah, erysipelas or erysipelas. Erysipelas. Noun from the 14th century. This is an acute febrile disease associated with intense edematous local inflammation of the skin and subcutaneous tissues caused by a hemolytic streptococcus. Can you imagine all those words that I just said? You can't even imagine. Lots of information there, and I will not ever understand it. The acute febrile disease associated with... So this disease, this erysipelas, when you have it, you have something like intense edematous local inflammation. So edematous, the word edema is in there, and I think that has something to do with maybe, well, inflammation of the skin. That's right there in the definition. Is that where, like, you've got too much water in the tissues or something? It's intense inflammation of the skin, and then subcutaneous tissues caused by a hemolytic streptococcus. And I don't remember what all those things are, but something under the skin, in the tissues. Yeah, so this is a skin-related disease, it looks like. What does the etymology say? Maybe it's going to help a little bit. Let's see. It's from, the Latin erysipelas. I keep on mixing up the letters. Erysipelas, which is from the Greek word erysi, which probably is from the Greek erythros, which means red, and then plus pelas, which is probably akin to the Latin pellis, which means skin. So right there, red skin. That's what this is all about. Red skin, red skin, red skin. We're not doing that in a derogatory, racist way. We're not saying red skin, like your skin is red. It means your skin is inflamed, so it has become red. And your body's like, I got this erysipelas. Can you please help me? That's it. Next is erythema. Erythema. This is a noun from circa 1783. Abnormal redness of the skin due to capillary congestion. Your capillaries, they have the congestion, and so they're making the skin red. I don't know what happens. How does that happen? How did the capillaries get congested? Is this like a high blood pressure kind of thing? Erythematous? Erythematous, that is an adjective. And this is from the Greek erythema, which is from erythinin, which means to redden. Also from erythros, which we saw in the previous etymology just means red. So yeah, this is all another thing that's all about red skin. Your skin turning red because of something going on the inside of your body. Yeah, erythema. Now, are we going to see... Oh, we're going to see a word that's sort of similarly spelled in sound, but it's different. I think we'll see that later. Okay. The next word is erythema migrans, or just migrans. Migrans. It doesn't say migraines, but it might be similar. It's migrans. Erythema migrans. 2 words. It could also be, we've added a third word, erythema chronicum migrans. Chronicum, yep. That's a word stuck in the middle. This is a noun from 1979. A red spreading annular skin lesion. Let's just think about that part real quick. Tasty. That is an early symptom of Lyme disease and that develops at the site of the bite of a tick. At the site of a bite of a tick. Infected with the causative spirochete. I don't know how to pronounce that word. Spirochete. Spirochete. I think that was maybe one of the words in that Monty Python song all about those diseasey things. Let's see. And the example of this tick would be a deer tick. A lot of times, they have the Lyme disease. So be careful. Check for ticks when you're going out in the woods. It's a disease, and you've got this... Oh, no, wait, I skipped around. It's a lesion. The migrants... So this thing is the lesion. That's what this word is. Erythema migrans. So it's probably red, because erythema is all about capillary congestion, red skin. And you maybe have gotten this because you have gotten Lyme disease. So be careful. Let's see. The etymology... it's New Latin. It literally means chronic migrating erythema. So yeah, not related to migraines. It's this erythema that migrates. It moves around your skin. Is that what it's saying? It's a red spreading annular skin lesion. So maybe the thing doesn't move around, but it grows and it spreads. And that's why it's migrating across your skin until you get it taken care of. Please and thank you. Next is erythorbate. Erythorbate. Noun from 1963. A salt of erythorbic acid that is used in foods as an antioxidant or antioxidant. It's a salt of erythorbic acid, which we got to jump to that. Erythorbic acid, 2 words, noun from 1963. What is this word? A diastereoisomer? That's not it. I see what's going on here. It's a diastereoisomer of ascorbic acid with optical activity. What? Yes, I can't say nothing about this. I got nothing. I don't have erudition. I have not learned about this from the books. Oh, well, we watched a movie last night, which I will officially talk about probably in a couple episodes from now, where this guy was, in multiple scenes, he was walking around with books. He was reading books, and he always had books in his hand. Not always, but in like at least 2 or 3 scenes, he was reading a lot of books, so he would be erudite, I guess. He would have erudition. But at the same time, there was a scene early on where he was acting very dumb. He didn't know what he was talking about, which is not at all what you would expect from this person, but I think they did it just to be funny. It was just a comedy scene. Okay. Back to the words. We've got a couple more. We have a prefix, erythr or erythro. Number 1, it means red, as in erythrocyte, which is that going to be in the next episode? Yes, it is. And we already saw from an earlier word that the Greek word erythros means red. So that makes sense. Number 2, It means erythrocyte. That is with a C-Y-T-E at the end. So erythro can mean red, which can be used in the example erythrocyte, or erythro prefix can mean erythrocyte, as in the example erythroid. Erythroid, which will also be in the next episode, I think? Somewhere? Where are you? There you are. Yes, they're right next to each other, actually. So clearly those two words are related. Erythrocyte and erythroid. Yeah. Yep. It's just all about red. Red, red, red. So anytime you see something with that erythro or erythro prefix, it probably means red. More than likely, I would think. The last word in this episode is erythremia. Erythremia. Now, what was the word that I was thinking of? Erythmia? Erythmia. That's what I was thinking of. But where is that word? Oh, maybe it's coming up in the next episode. Probably. Is it? Whatever. Maybe it's in a whole different place and I don't know how to spell. Erythremia, Erythremia, noun from 1908, and the synonym is polycythemia vera. No clue what this is. Two words. The second word is vera, V-E-R-A. The first word is P-O-L-Y-C-Y-T-H-E-M-I-A. Polycythemia vera. Something like that. No clue what that is. You'll just have to wait until the P's for us to learn about that. All right. It's word of the episode time. Today we had eruct, eructation, erudite or erudite, erudition, erupt, eruption, eringo, erysipelas, erythema migrans, erythorbic acid, erythro, and erythremia. I think I just need to pick eructation as the word of the episode because it's a burp, it's a belch, whatever you want to call it. We're going to call it eructation because it's just so fun to put these medical sort of sciencey technical words to things that we don't usually hear. And I will try to remember this one. Eructation. Eructation. I'm not gonna do an eructation for you. You don't get to hear my eructation. I'm gonna cut out all my eructations so you don't get bothered by my eructations. That was fine. Let's talk about another movie that I watched. Where are we? Oh, yes. Oh, yes. We're off to see the wonderful Wizard of Oz. We watched The Wizard of Oz on the big screen for the 85th anniversary. It was like a weekend thing that they did. I don't know, was it Fathom Events probably? I think it was. And it looked beautiful, and I hadn't seen it. Well, I hadn't seen the movie in a long time. I would assume at least 10 or 20 years. I think we watched it once or twice when I was in film school, and it was, not a big movie screen, but it was a good size movie screen in a classroom. And, it was good to rewatch it. Had been a long time. My wife hadn't seen it since she was a kid, probably 10 or younger. We took her mom. She also hadn't seen it since probably the same time. And so, this was a regular viewing in our household. We watched this often. And so I knew this movie quite well. But, when you don't watch it for 10, 20 years, you forget or you don't appreciate it as well. You need to rewatch sometimes. So yeah, it was very good to see. What I didn't really remember or realize is that the whole movie is in 4:3. This video is 16:9. This is not Wizard of Oz is not a widescreen movie. Can you imagine what that would have been like in a widescreen format? I think that would have been kind of amazing and kind of epic. I was half thinking that when they go to color that the whole thing would become widescreen, but no, it didn't. It just became color. And oh boy, I mean, the whole I'm not even going to get into the whole quote unquote midgets. That is not the word that we use anymore. This movie's from 1939. That's a whole thing. But in fact, maybe I can get Christoph, early guest. Maybe I can get him to send his thoughts about that, if I'm able to, if he's got the time.
Hey, Spencer, thanks so much for having me back on. I really appreciate you inviting me to come on and share some of my thoughts and opinions about the little people in The Wizard of Oz. So The Wizard of Oz was, I believe it came out in 1939. That's a long, long time ago. And little people were really not, I would say that our situation was a lot worse in society in the 30s and 40s than it is now. I think we've gotten a little bit better, but it's still not where it should be. And from just like a bare bones, visibility situation, I think it's better to, if I'm weighing the option of, never having little people be seen versus at least have us be visible, I think it's great that there is actually a community of little people in The Wizard of Oz, and that you can see all of these people that are little, and they're, they have dwarfism and they are interacting with one another. They have their own community. I think, again, I'm taking like the smallest chip here, but I think that's great to have a conversation that these people do exist and have the visibility that they are there. It's great. I will mention that 1 year prior to 1938, there was a film called Terror of Tiny Town, which is a quote unquote all midget cast. There's an average height guy who is introducing the film, and they actually pit the two stars, or the protagonist and antagonist, against one another to have them fight to see who is the actual real star of the film. And I mean, it's just so telling that it was comedic, and little people really were the butt of all of these jokes. And to have a representation in a film where little people are the only actors in a film, I think is such a novelty. Like, we're only doing extremes here. We're only doing, we're not going to include you at all, but if you want your own film, we'll give you your own film, and you might have to actually fight in front of us to see who actually is the star of this film, because that's even hilarious, because you are so small. So I think the visibility in The Wizard of Oz is better. We have a community. We're not fighting one another. We're singing, I guess. So that's maybe a little bit better. And you also mentioned to me that you noticed that they are billed as the Singer Midgets playing the Munchkins in the opening credits. I did a little bit of research, and Leopold Singer actually is the manager of the Singer Midgets. So he was inspired as a young adult or a child to have an entertaining troupe of midgets, and his name happened to be Singer, I guess. And so they were called the Singer Midgets. And so that's apparently why they are credited as the Singer Midgets, because I'm sure Leopold Singer had a contract that made his troupe and his business investment have to take the name once they were cast in the film. So apparently maybe that's why you don't see the names of the individual Munchkins in the film. And they were Leopold Singer's midgets. They were his business, his property, his entertainment group. So they're not even their own entity or their themselves. And I did a little bit of reading, and apparently, they would call him Papa and stuff. And it's, I've worked for some of these situations in the past. I've worked for folks that, are average height, and they manage a group of little people, and the treatment is just so It's not good. It's always depressing, and there's always issues with money and proper um, treatment. But honestly, there's another side to this coin. If you are given a job, if you are given some type of security, like the singer midgets, I guess it wasn't just a film troupe. They would travel the country and the world performing and having bookings. So if, as a little person, it's close to impossible to be taken seriously, or at least was. I still think it's difficult, but in subsequent years and subsequent decades, dozens and dozens of years ago, it was much more difficult to be taken seriously and actually get an adequate job where you can, work a 9 to 5 and or work any sort of job that treated you like a person. And if you're getting all this great attention and you're going around and you don't have to worry about job security, I can understand why these little people would go and sign on to be one of the singer midgets. It makes fiscal sense, that there are still representations of this today. In like the micro wrestling world, you can see folks on those shows saying like, I don't have any other opportunities to get a real job, and I get all this attention from being on stage and being a performer, and I get regular money. It's kind of a win-win, except you have to kind of compromise your integrity. In my opinion, maybe other people don't think it is compromising your integrity, but to me, I think it is in some regard. So I do think it's great that the little people in The Wizard of Oz did have the opportunity to be on camera, and I'm sure they were compensated, and to have that community and have that be a part of your career and a part of your legacy and a part of your life. I think that's hugely important, and it's a really amazing experience. I have to say, I worked on Oz the Great and Powerful. I worked with 55 other little people, and it's one of the highlights of my career and of my life. I had so much fun on the show. I worked for 5 months on and off. It was an amazing job. I did stunts. I worked with a team of miniature horses, and I worked with all these little people and other really talented average height folks as well. And we were, I would say that we were probably treated better than the Munchkins were in The Wizard of Oz. I'm only speculating. I don't totally know, but I do feel like things have gotten better since then. Also, I mean, we are folks. Munchkins, there's not really a backstory. There isn't a main lead character. It's a pretty nebulous existence, and I'm hoping that we are on our path to changing that. And having that visibility is still good. I go back to that. I'd rather have folks see us than not, but I really want stuff to be a better role than that. I watched a lot of Spike Jonze clips from the 50s because Billy Barty was a performer on the Spike Jonze show, and he plays a comedic role on Spike Jonze, and it's really interesting to watch him on there. He plays a small piano. He, is kind of dancing and singing, but there's one bit where he's a part of somebody else's main showcase, and this individual puts a sheet over Billy Barty's head and then takes 2 knives and stabs them into the top of what you think is his head. But while Billy Barty is being covered up with a sheet, he puts a bowl with a cabbage, so it looks like this round thing. But the entertainer, it visibly looks like he's stabbing knives into the top of Billy Barty's head. And if you watch it, he actually misses on the second one, and he has to pull back really quickly and jab it into the top of the cabbage. This is in 1954, I believe. So 15 years after The Wizard of Oz, and little people are still, I don't even know what you would call this. Like, jokes about us being stabbed in the top of the head is what is funny or entertaining, or I don't know. It doesn't, to me, it doesn't seem like much progress for showcasing us as humans and people that should be in media or have a role that is that's ever going to show us in an authentic way. So it ebbs and flows, I would have to say. So the visibility is good. We need to keep working at it, though. Thanks so much, Spencer, for letting me share my thoughts.
Hey, thanks, Christoph, for your words of wisdom. And everybody, be sure to check him out in the upcoming movie Sasquatch Sunset, which I am very, very excited about. And now back to me talking about The Wizard of Oz. What else? I don't know. Just the sets. So many things to say about The Wizard of Oz, but we're not going to do that right now because we're finishing up a word episode. So this is the end. Thank you very much for listening and watching, and until next time, this is Spencer dispensing information. Burp.